Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing this fine, fantastic Friday evening? I am Jake Johnson, and you are watching Untethered Live on a Friday night. Welcome to the show. Come on in, take your shoes off, set a spell, make yourself comfortable. I'll leave the light on for you. Tonight's episode is brought to you by this rather hot cup of coffee and the letter F for Fab Daddy. What's up, Fab Daddy? Welcome to the show. April. Nice to see you, sweetheart. Hello, handsome cousin of mine. Woohoo. Oh, you think I'm handsome? How about this? Pow, baby. Now I'm Magnum P.I. handsome. How you like that? For those of you that are just listening on audio, I suddenly have a pair of sunglasses and a really curly mustache, thanks to Snapchat. Come on in and welcome to the French version of the show. Tonight we're going to cover bad words, woke words, and Tweet-elations. That's what's going to happen. I think you'll like it. Where I will elucidate, I will illuminate, I will bloviate on the words that you're not supposed to say anymore, according to Stanford University, and some possible suggestions for the replacements thereof. Snidely Whiplash or Magnum P.I.? Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Haha, I love it too. I can do all kinds of nifty things with the Snapchat camera. I can look like a tiger. I can look like Joe Biden or Donald Trump. I can do all kinds of things. I can have a bald head. I can be a chick. Whatever. I can do it all. Yes. But more especially, I have a filthy mustache at the moment, and I like it. I wish mine was still black like that. I'd wear it. Hey, Julie. Welcome to the show. We got a fun night in store. As I said, Stanford University has come out with a study, if you want to call it that, a study, where they have put together a list of words that are now considered problematic or hurtful or harmful in some way. And they've offered up some suggestions, which, make total and perfect sense in the grand scheme of things and in context. And I thought we'd go through them. And then I thought after that we'd see what Twitter has to say about it. Because, Twitter is the arbiter of all things true and logical. Put on a top hat and it's the perils of Penelope all over again. Ha-ha. I may have to look into that and see if I got a top hat. I have 4 words for them. I shall not comply. Well, hold on there just a minute. Let's get through the list first and see if they make a good, valid point. They might be very well within the realm of reasonability. And if that's the case, then we should all comply. How you like that? That's just weird. I don't care who you are. Hello, Fab Daddy. Good to see you again. Welcome to the show. Glad you could drop by. Ha 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 ha. It's the dude from Pete's Dragon. That's a deep cut. I dislike filters. Well, I do apologize. Oh, crap. SFX filter. I would have sworn those were real. No. Did you not see it when I turned it on? Nope, not real. I love the look, Jake. Well, you're welcome. I thought it would be entertaining, and maybe I'll do some more later on down the road. Of course, they're fake. That's the whole point. Nobody thinks that I have a Milton Bradley mustache, especially one that black. Look at my hair. Anyway, let's see what we can get into, shall we? According to Stanford University, and they are, the beacon of all things logical and moral, clearly, they have come up with this quote-unquote study of a list that they've compiled of words that are deemed to be problematic and, hurtful and harmful and just generally bad. Bad. And they've suggested some replacement words that may be helpful. I would like to point out this is a statement of solidarity and commitment to action, which was published by the Stanford CIO Council. That's the CIOC, the People of Color in Technology. Because technology is based on color of the people who invent it, clearly. And its affinity group in December of 2020. This goes back to the beginning of the Biden era, by the way. The goal of the Elimination of Harmful Language initiative is to eliminate many forms of harmful language, including racist, violent, and biased, e.g., disability bias, ethnic slurs and gender bias, and implicit bias and sexual bias languages in Stanford websites and its code. Now, I would like to point out that the very first sentence in this document had racial bias and ethnic bias and sexual bias in it. So the irony is not on me. It's not lost on me. I just think it's hilarious. So the purpose of this website is to educate people and the possible impact of the words we use. Language affects different people in different ways, and we are not attempting to assign levels of harm to the terms on the site. Except you called it a list of harmful words. So you are assigning levels of harm to the words on this page. We also are not attempting to address all informal uses of the language. Well, that's a fact. I don't think there's a document that could make it last this long. The website focuses on potentially harmful terms used in the United States, starting with a list of everyday language and terminology. Our suggested alternatives are in line with those used by peer institutions and with technology community. Content warning, ladies and gentlemen, content warning. This show contains language that is offensive or harmful. And I say it proudly and loudly because I'm offensive and harmful. And I don't care how you feel about it. Please engage this show at your own pace, or not at all if you can't handle the words that are coming out of my mouth. Is jackass a bad one? That's another name for donkey, and bitch is a female dog. Yes, they are. And yes, they are. All right. Ableist. Are you an ableist? Ableist language is language that is offensive to people who live in or with disabilities, and or devalues people who live with disabilities. The unintentional use of such terms furthers the belief that people who live with disabilities are abnormal. I would like to point out that the word disability is the same functional meaning of the word abnormal. ability abnormal. They are, in fact, not normal. So, the first word on this list is instead of. Instead of. We would like for you to consider using the phrase consider using instead, which does not mean the same thing as instead of. But, you know, it's words that come out of people's mouths, so might as well. I don't get the very first one here is wrong, because consider using does not mean instead of. In the context is using person-first language helps to not define people by just one of their characteristics. You mean like non-binary? Or gender fluid? Or any of those words? Because they define one of a person's characteristics, and you are quite happy to use those. So how about instead of using those, we just stick with he and she? I mean, consider using he and she. Addict. Bubba, do you use steroids? No, sir, I do not. A person with a substance use disorder. Isn't disorder the same word as addict, addicted? It trivializes the experience of people who deal with substance abuse issues. No, it quite literally states that that's what they're doing. That's not a trivialization. They are addicted. That's why they have a substance abuse issue. Ladies and gentlemen, basket case. They would like for you to consider using the word nervous. I'm sorry, I can't. It's originally referred to one who has lost all 4 limbs and therefore needs to be carried around in a basket. That is not what basket case means, you idiot. A basket case refers to someone who has lost their sanity. It's a oxymoron. Jesus Christ. Oxymoron, basket case. Get it? I don't think you do. But they're nervous people. They're nervous because they lost all 4 limbs and need to be carried around. Why would that make you nervous? I don't know. Blind review. Anonymous review is what they would like for you to consider using. Because you wouldn't want to say anybody was blind, especially if they could see the review that they're reviewing. Then it wouldn't be a blind review, would it? Unless you were using that term in another way to not describe their eyesight. Maybe if it's that serious, you should use the term anonymous review. Unintentionally perpetuates that disability is somehow abnormal or negative, furthering an ableist culture. I would like to point out that the word disability is negative. It starts with the prefix dis, which means a negative connotation. Dis. And this is a college that produced this paper, folks. Blind study. They would like for you to call it a masked study because they all wear masks now and they're just trying to slip that in there. Hilarious. Not anonymous study, but masked study, because this unintentionally perpetuates that disability is somehow abnormal or negative, furthering a ableist culture. Oddly enough, they used the same statement to describe its context, but they changed the word that they suggested to use in its place, even though it's the same word here. Amazing. Committed suicide. They would like for you to use the word died by suicide. I think committed suicide, died by suicide. Yeah, well, died by suicide is less syllables, but it's exactly the same statement. I guess if you use the word died, then you can't blame the person for taking their own life. Don't commit suicide, die by it. Ableist language that trivializes the experience of people living with mental health conditions. Confined to a wheelchair. I have a friend who is in a wheelchair. He'll get a kick out of this one. Person who uses a wheelchair. Using person-first language helps to not define people by just one of their characteristics unless they are a transgender person in a wheelchair. Then you can use a word to define their characteristics. Also, users of wheelchairs often find them to be an essential tool for their freedom instead of thinking of them as a prison. I promise you that every single person who has ever been in a wheelchair unwillingly thinks of it as a prison. Yet they make do with what they've got. Crazy. I'm okay with crazy. What about you? They would like for you to use surprising or wild. Not crazy. Surprising. That lady is surprisingly wild. She's been in my house for 14 days and won't leave the closet, and she has a knife. She is surprising, that woman. Ableist language that trivializes the experience of people living with mental health conditions. This is hilarious. Crippled. Don't use the word crippled, folks, or cripple. They would prefer you to use person with a disability. Because, ableist language trivializes the experience of people living with disabilities. They've got crippled in here twice because the first time wasn't enough. So they would prefer this time that you use disabled, impaired, or weakened. Like crippled people. Unnecessarily equates the weakness or weakening of someone with people living with disabilities. Dumb. You ever met anybody that was just dumb, like the person who wrote this list? Well, they are non-vocal or non-verbal. Once used to describe a person who could not speak and implied the person was incapable of expressing themselves. Dumb, that's what the word means. They didn't use it to describe the person. That's literally what the definition of the word is. Dumb means can't speak. There is no other meaning. We wrongly use the word dumb to describe somebody who doesn't have any intelligence. That's not what the word dumb means. Handicap parking. Accessible parking is what they would prefer you say, because you can't possibly be handicapped. That's ableist. Ableist language that trivializes the experience of people living with disabilities. Handicapped again. So we've got crippled, handicap parking, and handicap space. Wow. Person with a disability. Accessible space for handicap space. Insane. Again, surprising and wild. That's what they want you to say instead of insane. This woman is driven through 14 states with a little girl's head on her head. And she keeps singing Dixie. And she has a knife. Man, she's surprising. Lame. This list is lame. But they would prefer you say boring or uncool, the ableist language that can trivialize the experience of people living with disabilities, because lame means to be without both limbs. Mentally ill. A person living with a mental health condition. That is what mentally ill means. Ill means sick. And mentally means you're sick in the head. So saying a person with living with a mental health condition is the same thing as saying mentally ill. This is just splitting hairs. Some of these I think are ridiculous. I plead guilty by being a surprising judge. By being surprising to the judge. Paraplegic. Paraplegic is when you're paralyzed from the neck down. Actually, from the waist down. Quadriplegic is neck down. Sorry. Paraplegic is a person with a spinal cord injury or a person who is paralyzed, which is what paraplegic means. I guess that's just too hard for some people to say, so they'd prefer you to use person who is paralyzed as opposed to paraplegic. OCD. OCD. That's a person who has, I forget what OCD stands for right off the top of my head. Does anybody know? It's basically where you obsess on little details of things that drive you crazy until you do it, or fix it, or say it, or touch it. OCD. I can't remember what that stands for. Who knows? Somebody knows. Chat's always smart. But they would prefer obsession compulsive disorder. Thank you. Obsessive compulsive disorder. OCD. They would prefer that you use the term detail oriented. Wow. Quadriplegic is on this list. Person who is paralyzed or person with a spinal cord injury. Retard. Now we're getting spicy. Person with a cognitive disability. Person with autism. A neurodivergent person. Only one of those describes a retard, ladies and gentlemen. A person with autism is not retarded. They're, if anything, turned up to 11. Retarded means to slow down. Often used to describe people with water on the brain, or as we now call it, Down's syndrome. That's a retard. A person with autism is not. And neurodivergent is a weird way of saying you have a weird child. That's what neurodivergent means, because most people that use that term are just weird kids. They're the ones that used to be goth and hanging out in the corner and smoke in the lunchroom and cut themselves with razor blades and shit. That's neurodivergent. That is not what retarded means, because those people are otherwise normal. They're just weird. Jake is a dork. Thank you, sir. I take offense to that. I would prefer you use genius. Sanity check. They would prefer you use confidence check or coherence check or fact check. You see how that worked? They slid fact check in there to make sure you understood they were the sane ones, because those are also the people that do fact checks. Think tanks that work at universities. That was some propaganda right there. Slipped it right in. This term could be offensive to those dealing with mental health issues. A genius can be boring or uncool for the love of God. And a dork is a whale penis. Clumsy. They would prefer you use the term clumsy instead of the term spaz. Again, they are incorrect. The term spaz comes from people who have seizures, and they used to make fun of those people by saying they were spazzing out or having a spasm, as it were, shortened to spaz with a Z as a matter of language or linguistic expression. But a spasm comes from the word seizure, and clumsy is not that. Clumsy would be somebody that has dropsy, or somebody that can't stand up straight, or has vertigo or something like that. That would make them clumsy. So this is just nonsense being applied to the word spaz. Stand-up meeting. Are we talking about comedy here? Or a meeting that doesn't involve desks? They would prefer you call it a quick meeting, and so would I, because I'm not going to stand up during a meeting, by the way. If you can't offer me a chair, we don't need to meet. So, whatever this stand-up meeting is, I don't want no part of it. I agree with them on this one. Quick meeting. Tone deaf. That's a musical term that describes people who can't hear pitches properly. It's also used incorrectly to describe somebody that can't read the tone of a conversation or tends to say things out of context in moments when they shouldn't be talking. Doesn't know when to hold their cards to their chest and when to play their hand. Tone deaf. They would prefer you use unenlightened. I concur. I agree with that one too. Walk in. They would prefer you use drop in because not everybody can walk, you ableist. Or open office. This list is dumb and retarded. Wheelchair bound. Person who uses a wheelchair. No, that's a person who will be using a wheelchair. Wheelchair bound means they're headed for the wheelchair. Ageism. We have reached the ageism portion of this list. Gray beard, like me. We would prefer you just simply call them by the person's name instead of calling them graybeard. Because if you're going to point out the color of their beard, clearly you're trying to get their attention and not insult them. It calls out an older person and presumably more experienced. IT or cybersecurity person by referring to their age instead of their name. No, if you're referring to someone's age instead of their name, that person is probably too old to be working wherever that person is working, which is why you pointed it out. Senile. They would prefer you use President Biden. Person suffering from senility, which is what the word senile means. Literally, that's the definition of the word senile. Senile is a person suffering from senility. This term is often used disparagingly to refer to older people whose mental faculties appear to be in decline. That's what senility is. Of course, it's used to describe that because that's what it is. Oh, colonialism. Colonialism is a policy or practice of acquiring full or potential political control over another country, occupying it with settlers, and exploiting it economically. It is better to avoid terms that derive from colonialism. Why? I don't know, because the reason our country is so great is because of colonialism. Because we came over here and we conquered this country, as all countries do from time to time, or the strong ones do anyway, and we turned it into something better than it was. Now, we didn't do it. Our ancestors did. Therefore, we are not held responsible for what they did. However, the universities would love very much for you to pay in full for their sins. I say live and let live. I wasn't born then. I didn't have anything to do with that colonialism. I now live as a full-on, full-fledged capitalism due to my colonial ancestors. And I'm happy to do so. And you couldn't drag me to another country because there isn't one better than the one you're in. If you don't like colonialism, I'd suggest you take a long ship to a short island very quickly and get the hell out of this country. The Philippine Islands. They would prefer you call it the Republic of the Philippines. Because, calling it what it is isn't good enough. The Philippine Islands. Why can't we call it the Philippine Islands? Because they're scared you're going to take over. That's why. Well, it is true that when you get a bunch of white people together and they're bored for a really long time, they tend to take over countries and make them better. But that's not going to happen to the Philippines, I promise. We've got our hands full with America. Relax, Filipinos. I mean, whatever you call them. Culturally appropriate. Appropriative. Culturally appropriative language misuses terms that hold meanings to particular cultures in a way that often lacks respect or appreciation. I defy you to name one. Julie says the attitude or intent behind what is said is more relevant than the word in many cases, but there are some labels I will not use. This list is counterproductive. I agree, which is why I'm pointing it out. I'm offended by colonialism. I prefer saying taking someone else's stuff by force or occupation. I prefer saying that every person who has ever lived in a country has experienced some form of this at some point. Because that's the way of the world. And if you don't do it, someone will do it to you. I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm just telling you that's the nature of reality. Intent is where it implies the insult. No, it's not always an insult. She's not referring to insults, I don't think. She's referring to the intent behind whatever it is a person says. For example, I might say, hey, blue unicorn, calm down. If I said that, there would be no insult intended, but you might feel it because you might notice that you're surrounded by people who think differently than you. But there's no insult intended. So if you feel insult, that's a you thing, not a me thing, because I didn't intend an insult. If I said such a thing, which I haven't. So continuing on with the list of arbitrary words. Brave. Nothing wrong with being brave, is there? Apparently, they would prefer you use the term none or do not use. Don't use the word brave. Why? I am mostly Native American. I believe I have the right to use that word. That's my word. I can say brave. You can't. This term perpetuates the stereotype of the noble, courageous savage, equating the indigenous male as being less than a man. No, brave means they're more than a man, not less than a man. You understand? A brave is a soldier. That's what the word means in the context of a Native American using the word. Soldier, not less than a man. So they're wrong there all the way around. It does mean noble, courageous, and savage because they are soldiers. They're supposed to be savage. News Now, Carolina. What's up, buddy? Bury the hatchet. Let's all bury the hatchet, shall we? That means to move on with your problems. It's a colloquial slang. It means to bury the problem and not think about it anymore. I forgive you, you forgive me, the problem's over. They would prefer you say call for peace or call a truce, because using this term is cultural appropriation of a centuries-old tradition among North American indigenous peoples who buried their tools of war as a symbol of peace, which has never once in the history of mankind ever happened in that context. This is utter bullshit. They made that up because they couldn't think of another reason not to use the term we bury the hatchet. A hatchet is not a tool of war. It's a tool of hunting and a tool of chopping trees down. A spear is a tool of war. An arrow is a tool of war. A hatchet is used for other things. It's not a very effective fighting tool, although it can be co-opted in a last-minute, last-ditch effort. You can use one, but it's not very likely. You'd much prefer to stay far away from your enemy and not up close. Chief. Chief is the name of the leader of the tribe. But they would prefer you just use the person's name. And I bet you he would prefer you call him chief because he's the leader of the tribe. And if you call him by his name, that is actually an insult to him. But leaving all that aside, calling a non-indigenous person chief trivializes both the hereditary and the elected chiefs in indigenous communities. Calling an indigenous person chief is a slur. No, calling a non-indigenous person is a nonsense word because they're not indigenous. They don't have chief in their repertoire. So if you call them a chief, you're just calling them head of the pack. But if you call an indigenous person chief, you're telling them they're in charge. It's not a slur. Injun is a slur. Chief is not. Also, a tomahawk is actually of French origin. You're correct, sir. Nobody forgets where those hatchets are buried. It's an Iroquois tradition of making a truce. Well, if that's true, I'd like to see that because I've never heard of such a thing in reality. Although the expression did come from somewhere, so I would assume you might be correct. It didn't come from the Indians that I came from, though. Geronimo. Don't use this word unless you're discussing the historical figure. Well, yeah, because that was a guy's name. And if you're calling somebody else Geronimo, clearly you're speaking out of turn. Geronimo was a famous leader and a medicine man whose name is used today as a caricature of the brave warrior, often during macho pursuits, often during jumping out of planes, because they would go, Geronimo. Well, those people that did that knew Geronimo because he used to work with the military quite often back in the day. And I would imagine at the time it was a compliment to whomever was doing the act that reminded them of Geronimo, the actual person. If you said it now, it would be a little culturally insensitive, but it would also be a little silly because nobody here knows who Geronimo is unless they're old enough to have read about him when they were kids. Nonetheless, he was quite the great dude. Guru. Now, what's wrong with a guru? That's an expert or subject matter expert, primary leader, teacher, or guide. That's what guru means. That's why we call them gurus. Same word as rabbi. Same word as teacher or pastor. In the Buddhist and Hindu traditions, the word is a sign of respect. Using it casually negates its original value. No, it doesn't. Using it casually means you don't know who you're talking to or about. That's a you problem, not a me problem. A guru is somebody that knows what they're speaking about. you should probably listen to them. And if someone calls you a guru, they're telling you that you are overly wise in the subject you're referring to. I don't think anybody would take offense to being called a guru, but I guess it's possible on campus. Low man on the totem pole. I could see why they would consider this one an insult, because being the bottom of the totem pole means lots of things. Modern day airborne counts to 3. No, it's not. A guru is a moocher, a user, really. You're incorrect, April. Sorry to tell you that. A guru is a person who teaches. I don't have to look it up. I'm looking at the definition of it as we speak. Low man on the totem pole. What a totem pole is a stack of things that have cultural significance. And they use them to ward off evil spirits. They use them for a number of other reasons. Teachers bullshit. Okay, believe what you want to believe. You just calm your little self down. There you go, Blue Unicorn. Guru is used colloquially, but has specific meaning, like shaman. A shaman is a medicine man. Came from Siberian and Finnish tribes. It was applied to the medicine men, but does not mean that. No. When Jake reads backwards, it's confusing but entertaining. Thank you, sir. I'm trying. Paratroopers did use Geronimo in recognition of the dude's bravery. It was a compliment. I agree. Thank you. But that's at least the way I read it anyway. On the warpath, man, they're really nailing these Indian expressions, aren't they? Native American expressions. Don't use the word Indian because we're not from Hindu. Or we don't speak Hindu. Mad or on the offensive. Well, you could say that. If you're on the warpath, mad is an understatement. But it's culturally appropriation of the term that referred to the route taken by the indigenous people heading towards a battle with an enemy. Yeah, like on the way to war. Warpath. That's pretty simple. Self-explanatory. Don't know why that's a problem. Pocahontas, also a person's name. And they would prefer you use the person's name, which is, say it with me, Pocahontas. Don't use the word Pocahontas. We prefer you use the person's name, which is Pocahontas. This is a slur and should not be used to address an indigenous woman unless that is her actual name. Well, why on earth would you ever call someone Pocahontas who's not named Pocahontas? That word has no meaning in any other context. It's her name. If you said Pocahontas, you'd be saying, like, hey, Indian person. You know what I'm saying? What good would it be to call somebody Pocahontas? Pocahontas. Oh, yeah. That's just weird. Hey, white person. Huh? That's like saying, don't call people Greg unless that's their name. Yeah. That makes sense. Or unless you're Elizabeth Warren. Correct. You can call her Pocahontas. All right. Powwow. They would prefer you call it a meet or a get-together. Because they don't know what powwow means. This term, using this term in this manner demeans a term of cultural significance to the indigenous peoples. Well, you don't need to pluralize the word people. It's already pluralized. That's like saying people. People is plural of person. And also, a powwow is not a get-together. A powwow is a ritual, a dance ritual that is put together for the sake of weather or good crops or health in battle, something like that. A powwow is a ritual medicine man event that the whole tribe takes part in. They dress up to the nines. They wear the feathers and the makeup and carry all the ceremonial things, staves and pipes and such, and they go out and have a powwow so that they can get something achieved. It's like a prayer, but more specific. It's not a get-together or a meet. We're not just hanging out. We're not meeting at Applebee's. That's a get-together. Go figure. Spiritual or spirit animal? Favorite animal? Animal I most admire or would like to be. I'll read that again just so it can sink in. A spirit animal is your favorite animal or an animal that you most admire and would like to be. That is not what a spirit animal is. A spirit animal, you have no choice in the matter and you don't know whether you like it or not. Because when you see a spirit animal, it's because you've usually been on a 3-day peyote trip and it comes to you in a vision. And that spirit animal accompanies a message to you from the spirit world. And it can be protection, a protector, or it can be a messenger. It's like an angel for indigenous people. That's the version of angels for indigenous people. And it doesn't matter whether you like it or not, or agree with it or not. A spirit animal is a thing that comes to you, not something that you prefer. Vikings had spirit animals? Well, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the indigenous peoples got here somehow. Just think about that for a minute. They weren't born here. They came here. Too many chiefs and not enough Indians. Bravo. They would prefer that you use a lack of clear direction or too many competing ideas. Because if you have too many chiefs and not enough Indians, everybody's standing around saying what needs to be done and nobody actually does anything. So nothing gets done. I can see why this would be offensive because there's usually only one chief involved in a tribe. And in the event that there's more than one chief, there's probably a bunch of tribes together. That's where we're going to stop on this list tonight. Let's go over and read some Twitter responses that I'd like to call Tweet-elations. Like revelations, but with tweets. Do I have a Twitter page pulled up already? Yes, I do. Give me just a second. I'm working on it. All right. List of harmful words. Brian McFadden says, Stanford University released a list of over 100 harmful words as a part of an obvious all-out effort to help Trump get reelected. That's a deep dig there because what he's saying is they look so retarded by releasing this list that it's going to get Trump reelected. Ayman Gedizi says Stanford University. I read that. Oh, they want to eliminate these words, including words like brave and phrases like kill two birds with one stone. Tyrannical insanity. And you still think going to college will make you smart and successful. Amen, brother. Twitch Clips says, Hassan reviews a list of harmful words from Stanford. And there's his review there. I'm not going to watch that. Masterwork says, keep scrolling if you like losing money and like losing money to inflation. Paintings like these are worth $8 million, like this one here. And shares are only worth $20. Masterworks. Stanford University released harmful language list of hurtful words. A few harmful words are American, brave, guys, ladies, mailman, killing two birds with one stone, and hip hip hooray or hip hip hooray. Clip Daddy wrote another thing promoting his clips. Investigator 50 says Stanford University's anti-American wokeness. Stanford University puts out a new list of words it considers to be harmful language. The 13-page Elimination of Harmful Language initiative includes words like immigrant, which should be replaced. Like immigrants. Oh, here's one. Juliet Moses says, here's the list of Stanford's verboten words, including basket case, lame, tone deaf, bury the hatchet, and guru. As this is a list of harmful language, note the warning at the start that it contains harmful language. Reading it is an act of bravery. That's a deep cut right there. Reading it is an act of bravery because it's harmful and you're doing it on purpose, which goes against the list itself. Everything about the list goes against the list. The harmful words has a mixed bag of words that should be banned and words that do not belong there. Perhaps I propose we should ban the entirety of the English lexicon because of its European origin and ties to colonial reform. Hear, hear. That ought to teach them right there. Let's just walk around grunting at each other because we don't have words anymore. Words have meanings, folks. A dense cabbage says Stanford's list of harmful words has a mixed... I read that one. Keto, day one. Oh, that's some bullshit. The Los Angeles Magazine. The Elimination of Harmful Language initiative seeks to rid Stanford and perhaps the world of troubling terms like American. LOL, says Blazy. So I saw that thing about Stanford and them having a list of harmful words. And one of the words that was listed as harmful is addicted. And one of the words they recommended using in its place is devoted. Rolling on the floor, laughing my ass off. I was just really devoted to heroin at the time. Quote, unquote. Yes, addicted, devoted. What a bunch of Muppets, says Gigi Valenti. Gigi Valenti. I got it. I'm not having a stroke. I hope no one hires graduates from this shithole anymore. Stanford releases harmful language list of hurtful words to eliminate language. Matthew says Stanford releases the list of hurtful words. Includes American, walk-in, victim, ladies, grandfather, and mailman. How dare you refer to someone as a mailman? Or grandfather. We'll never know where we came from because we won't be able to call our granddad anymore. This list includes words like brave and phrases like kill two birds with one stone is tyrannical insanity. I read that one too. Are they just repeating it? What's going on here? Hopefully it will create a less triggered and fear-focused media. I doubt it. Don't say Bill, that's racist. Landlord is one of the words on that list. You should replace it with property owner. But somehow my property owner is taking advantage of their tenants. Just doesn't sound right. My property owner? Well, that would be racist, wouldn't it? Because you can't use master anymore, which is what you're insinuating here. But it seems like they've already come up with a good thing to call a person who owns the property you live at. Landlord. They are the lord of the land, and you are the tenant or the subject. They're a little tiny king in a little tiny kingdom that belongs to them as long as they pay taxes. If they stop paying taxes, then it belongs to the government, and you can do what you want. They are trying to eliminate words like brave and phrase. I read that one too. Stanford has a list of words considered harmful. Landlord is one of them. I read that one too. I think this thing is just repeating itself repetitively. Words like brave and picnic are on the list. Picnic. And hold down the fort. We should say cover the roll. Some of this is absolutely insane. Cancel me. I agree. And that was Vincenzo. Kelly Snake says, starting now, I will not say any of the words on the Stanford harmful list. Be better. Be progressive. You're a moron. Brian Scott McFadden says, I read that one. Bama girl. This ought to be interesting. Hey, Stanford, you want to ban harmful words? Two can play at this game. Here's Maureen Callahan's list of illogical, meaningless, and Orwellian language to abandon. And it starts with my truth and journaling. Had to look and see what that is. Nothing. Crap. I was hoping that'd be good. Contemporary art historically returns something else. Many of the words mentioned in the Stanford list deserve scrutiny, but those who compiled the list seem suspicious of or actively fear metaphorical language, metaphors, similes, comparisons, analogies, ambiguities, connotations, and puns, etc. Well, yeah, you see, that's the problem with highly educated people. They tend to overanalyze the meanings of things in the little world that they live in without ever having any actual real life experience like work and paying bills and having children and getting in fights. And so they come up with these ambiguities and connotations and puns, and they're terrified of them because they think that they mean something to the rest of us, which they don't, in as much as they're words. But they hang on them like they're everything because they have no real life experience. They're taught by people who have never had a real job. They've been in academia their whole life, so they teach people as if they're going to live their whole lives in academia, for what it's worth. One more, and then we'll finish her out. Give me something good, folks. Someone feed Stanford's list of harmful words to an AI and have it generate a racist origins to the rest of the words in the English language. Ha! Elaine Christian. That is beautiful. You see, the real crux of the situation here is that word that I just highlighted. It seems to me that out of everything I've just read the whole night so far, 30 full minutes, or an hour, sorry, a full hour of reading, I've seen this word American over and over and over and over, and I think that's the real problem, folks. I think the actual problem is they're trying to get rid of Americans. I really think that's the problem. Property tax is theft of government. Yes, it is. Tax in its entirety was only supposed to be temporary during wartime, and it was supposed to be eliminated as soon as the war was over. Problem is when you give a politician power, he don't like to give it up. He seems to hang on to it. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed what we did tonight. I know it was a little sporadic, and I'm trying. It was off the cuff, and I thought I'd do something different, so we'll see. But while you're hanging out, I want you to do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon so you get notifications of when I'm going to be online. Smash that like button. It's free, it's effortless, it's right in front of you, and it really does help the channel with the algorithms, and it helps us get recommended to other people. Share this video with somebody you love. Better yet, share it with somebody you don't love. Bring them into the family. Make them part of the fold. Be part of their solutions, not part of their problems. Leave comments down below. Let me know what you're thinking about. Question me, curse me, bless me, challenge me, confront me, conform with me, drink my Kool-Aid. Make your own Kool-Aid as long as you're thinking critical. That's what I want. Critical thought coming from that brain of yours. And hey, if you dig what you see and you'd like to be part of helping me out, if you'd like to support my work and help me build this channel into something magnificent, the thing that it can be, you can support me by going to paypal.me/jakejohnsonband, or if you're a CashApp user, $JakeJohnsonband. Every little bit helps. It's a win-win. It's a blessing to me. It's a blessing to you too, because we get things done, baby. That's how it works. And this is your show as much as it is mine, and you can request things if you help out. That's how it works. Now, I will round up this video and take all your questions and comments as we get to the end. And I put to bed this long-ass week. I've done 3 other podcasts outside of the 4 that I already do this week. I'm tired, plus work a full-time job. I am ready for some rest. Over 40% of normal speech is either a metaphor, an allegory, or analogies. Okay, I made up the 40% number, but it's up there. If you're looking close. I agree. So what is that app? Twitter? Never downloaded. What I was looking at was Twitter, yes. And it's been a while since I did that search, and there were other things in there. So it kind of threw me off a little, because when I first did the search, it was all about that list, because that list just got talked about in the news recently. So I figured I'd do something, poignant and relevant. But anyway, it was worth a shot. I don't have a team of people doing the pre-production for me, so I can't just pop up tweets on a screen for you. I've got to look at the whole page of tweets. It would take me all day to cut them out and put them on a nice frame and set them up beside my head so it would look like I was looking into a monitor. It's a lot of work. So unless I have a producer, I can't do those things. So you have to bear with me and look at the whole page. A lot of English words are actually Old Norse boat, lake, north, south, east, west, knife, etc. So unless you have Norse ancestry, you can't use those words. I agree. Well, most of our language is maritime-based. It's all based on ship lingo and knowledge of the oceans and riverboats and baseball and poker. That's a lot of our language. That cuts out about 80% of it right there. And the rest is bywords like a, and, the, we, them, that sort of thing. Shoot a cat skull. Nice show, Jake. Now I want to shoot something, but it's dark outside. Shoot a cat skull. Yep. Blue Unicorn this weekend will become offensive and can't dare mention a difference whatsoever. Oh my goodness, thank you, Jesus, it's over. That's not the right attitude. What's the matter with you? Did you not enjoy that? If you keep acting like that, I'm going to stop trying to do new things. You got a slingshot, MBTV? We all went to school. Everyone here is respectful and definitely knows the meaning of words and the do's and don'ts. We're not in elementary school. Well, I tell you what. Compare what's going on in this country and then make that statement again, and I will defy you and say, yes, the large portion of this country is in elementary school. And it needs a podcast just like this to show just how stupid what they're saying and what they're living like is being. I apologize if you didn't like it, but wait for the show that's for you. This was for somebody else, obviously. Blam! Went right through. Should not have had it sitting in the front out of a window. No. 45 pistol and a double barrel shotgun. Wow. You really want to shoot that cat, don't you? Right. The Norse had 6-day weeks. And their Sunday was a Logsdad, which meant washing day. And then Saturday was a Christian Gregorian, but still named for Saturn. So weekends are out too. I think every day of the week is out if you look at it like that, because they're all named after gods or planets, depending on how you look at it. Log Lake. Find a Y branch and make one, MBTV. Use rubber bands. That's easy. I love you, Jake. And I did enjoy it. Much love, respect, meow. Come on now. Well, much love and respect back to you. But if you start holding me back from touching on things that I know about, that's going to limit my ability to teach things. And if you think you know everything, then you're in the wrong place. I don't mean you personally. I mean in general. You did great, love. I've aged, but it's okay, LOL. Joke, ha 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 ha. I understand. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying it like it is, like I always do. Sometimes it comes out that way. Apparently, I was told last night I was an asshole on another channel, so apparently I'm an asshole. I did not know this, but apparently that's the case. So you are within your right to say something. There's also half a crate of very sweaty dynamite in a field shed. The sheriff is going to arrange its removal. Too tempting. I wouldn't have told the sheriff it was there. I would have removed it myself with some loud bangs. I'm picking on you, my love. I learn something new every night. Thank you. Or I learned something new tonight. Well, thank you. I know you're picking on me. Fab Daddy? Oh, I should have. My brothers and I used to make rubber band guns, and they work pretty well. Yes, they do. I remember that. Have you heard of a jubilee? Yes, I do know what a jubilee is. I agree. Words are important. At Stanford's harmful words list is akin to Newspeak Dictionary of 1984, or in the movie 1984, the book 1984. It got smaller with every edition. Yeah, words are very important. If you don't have words, you can't have articulate conversations. You can't have popular or unpopular discourse, which is what this country used to be based on. You used to could go to a campus and talk about things that nobody agreed with so that people could hear your version of events, and then based on their education, they would decide whether or not what your argument was had merit. This is called discourse. It uses the prefix dis, just like, uh, 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 what's the word? Disorder, like disorder. It's discourse. It's a course being dissed. Why? Because it's an argument you don't agree with. You don't have to agree with it. You should be smart enough to detect words that you don't agree with. And then you listen to the argument, and maybe you learn something. Maybe you figure out a way to think about something on a broader spectrum or a broader scale. Maybe you enlighten yourself by hearing opposing arguments. That's what debate is. Also, the prefix DE is a diminishing prefix also, because words involving language usually go that route, because you're usually discoursing with someone you disagree with. This is no longer the case, which is why people are getting stupider by the minute. The world needs somebody to say something that's true, whether you agree with it or not. That's what I do here on this channel. Try to say true things. The destruction of words is the destruction of thought. Amen, brother. And for us high thinkers in the world, nothing is more devastating than the destruction of thought, because without thought, nothing gets done. You don't have pyramids. You don't have skyscrapers. You don't have roads. You don't have economies. You don't have presidencies. You don't have universities who used to teach you things you didn't know. Now they indoctrinate you into a world they want you to live in. It's a different metaphor. It's a different modus operandi. We are living in 1984. It's bad. Dynamite sweats nitroglycerin. That's because it's made out of nitroglycerin. Some things are beyond even me. Knowing it's there is too tempting to do just that. Trying to be wise to a point. Well, if you've ever lived around pine trees, you were surrounded by nitroglycerin and never knew it. Every time you flicked a cigarette out the window, you risk destroying the universe. It's not going to happen because the binding agent is at the top. You have to boil it for that to happen, but enough said. Okay. Plus, I want to utilize that shed. Blowing it up first is a safer, but then goodbye shed. I agree. What exactly is a jubilee? I heard it comes from Alabama. No, it don't come from Alabama. It comes from the Bible, which is another topic that I'm quite knowledgeable about. And a jubilee is just a party. It's a get-together like 4th of July. Everybody in the country celebrates 4th of July. Same thing with a jubilee. A jubilee comes from the person Jubal in the Bible. Jubal invented the jubilee. And one thing that he put into motion was the fact that every 70 years, you give back the property that you've accrued from people who couldn't afford to pay for it. So if you lost your land because you couldn't afford to pay for it, in 70 years, your family would get that land back. It would be transferred back into your name. Why? Because that's the year of Jubilee. You get back the money that you've lost. You get back the property you've lost. You get back the slaves that you lost or family that you lost to slavery, which is indentured servitude, not like the slavery we have here in this country or did have. So, basically, Jubilee is just a party. But there are rules that go along with that party that is beneficial to all families involved. Why? Because they don't make any more land. And if one person owns it all, nobody else gets to have any. It's a pretty smart thing. I wish we would adopt rules like that. They've been doing it in Israel forever, so go figure. All slaves were freed. It was more than just slaves, but yes. Cajun, baby. That's what Hank says. Yeah. Bingo. Oh, Jubilee. My bad. I thought you said Jubilee. There is also an he mortal shall with rocket attached in the barn. A He-Man, I don't know what that is, in the barn. A Vietnam era, but it's intact and will hold that back if needed. There's also an He mortal shell with rocket attachment, or attached in the barn. A He mortal shell? I don't know what that is. This world is not getting stupid, but its people are. You say tomato, I say people are getting stupid. Mortar shell, gotcha, that is. Mortar shell, I got you. Yeah, I got you. Earth will outlive us all. Yes, it will. By the way, who are they? Who are who? They? They is anybody that is not you. I don't know. Who are they? Gum, turpentine, and pine sap is not NTG. But forget about that. It's still explosive, highly flammable, and not note taken. No, it's not NTG, whatever that is, but nitroglycerin is derived from pine sap. Yes, it is. You have to know how to make it. You have to add a couple things to it, and you have to boil it in a specific way to get the skim off of the top, and the skim off of the top is mixed with another agent, which becomes nitroglycerin. Glycerin just means sugar. Nitro is the explosive nature of it. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic and using simplified words because I don't know the exact definition of every word in the English language, but you get my point, and it is made that way. 75 years of Jubilee, all slaves were freed. I read that. 70, you were right. A Jubilee is a particular anniversary of an event, usually denoting the 25th, 40th, 50th, 60th, and 70th anniversary. I thought it was 75. It's a bunch of things, but 70 is one of them, yes. The 70 weeks of Daniel coincides with it on one occasion. Fab Daddy, I'm sure you saw George Carlin's rant on that. Was focused on plastics, or plastique, at the time, but still relates. Bobbing for apples. Are you bobbing for apples? That's weird. Did you catch any? I had a long day, y'all. Me too. Sing a song, pretty please. I will, but I gotta pee first. He, H-E, high explosive. Gotcha. Thank you, MVTV. I didn't know that. I need to hear the sound of music. The hills are alive with the sound of music. There you go. TNT is dynamite. TNT is an AC/DC song. Stupid is as stupid does. Want a chocolate? Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. No, it's not. I do not believe that. It's gum, turpentine, not nitroglycerin. Two completely different chemicals. Okay. I stand corrected. I don't clearly know what I'm talking about. Hilarious. Blue unicorn. Yes. Bring it on. I want some sugar, baby. I am playing backup while listening to Jake. Amen. Infinity all comes back to one number. Yay. It starts at one number. Then it goes to infinity, which is all numbers. But yes. Blue has nice fingernails. Nice. Fab, you see that? Gorgeous. Ha-ha, I love it. I'll be right back, y'all. I got to go pee. Look at this beautiful song while I'm gone, and I'll be right back. What would you like to hear? Sulfuric and nitric acid, you say? Oh, you're a guitar player too, you Blue Unicorn? Nice. You want to hear Elizabeth? All right. 74-second P, I'm impressed. It don't take much. All going out. It's about that much. 1 second. I'll get back to that. All right. Fab Daddy wants to hear Elizabeth. April, what do you want to hear? Since you're the one that asked. Wow. 28 separate 35-second ones for me. That's a lot of peeing. Yeah, I find if my jokes are funny to me, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Alright. This thing's been sitting in the cold all day, so let me see if it's even tuned up. A little sharp. What do you want to hear? Let's get Elizabeth out of the way. This goes out to you, Fab Daddy. Moonlit skies and fireworks. People laugh, people flirt all night long. but I just stare. So I went down to the local bar, where people come in their fancy cars to play their games. But I just stare. Then I saw you sitting there, all alone in that empty chair right next to you. I fell in love, whoa baby. You looked down and you took my hand and said, boy, I hope you understand, not a girl that needs a man. Got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything with just one kiss. I don't care what you say, I fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, take my breath away. At that bar where we first met, you smiled at me and my palms got wet and I just looked away. But you just stayed. And you said, I've been in love and it never works. I always end up getting hurt and I ain't doing that no more. There ain't no way, oh no, no, no. You stood up to say goodbye, grabbed your hand with a tear in my eye, and you just looked away, just like you did before. But I just stayed. You looked down and you took my hand and said, boy, I hope you understand, not a girl that needs a man. Got my life and all my plans, and if you were there, just be in my way. Girl, it ain't gotta be like this. I'd give you everything with just one kiss. I don't care what you say, fell in love with you anyway. Oh, Elizabeth, take my breath away. Yeah. There you go. There's a little Elizabeth by request. Total Blackout Painting. What's up, brother? Good to see you. Welcome to the show. All the owl sounds in my videos I record in my backyard with my phone. I have a huge spruce tree and they love it. Excellent. Wow, I wish I could see it, Blue. I like your music enough, I'd be your bass player. Really? Well, I happen to need a bass player. Where are you located? It just so happens I'm down a bass player at the moment. So if you're close by or willing to relocate, let me know. Oh, you're a little too far. I'm in North Carolina. That would be a hell of a commute. Shout, shout, let it all out. These are the things I can live without. Come on, I'm talking to you. Well, come on, no. No tears for fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Yeah, I could play it, but I don't like Tears for Fears, so. Also, my voice is doing a little bad today. It's been kind of hot and cold, so I'm a little hoarse. And I do apologize for that, but I'm getting there. No Steely Dan either, sorry. That's just because I don't know any, though. I've never listened to Steely Dan. I'm aware of who it is. I've just never listened to any. Beautiful, Jake Love. Well, everyone, I'm getting off here. I love you all, true. Oh, don't go. I didn't leave when you got here. Good night, April. I exist in that very small period of time between 1969 and 1985. And on the backside of that. So, you know. Chevy Chase was the first drummer for Steely Dan. I did not know that. That's a very interesting fact. Good night, April. Sweet dreams. Tell Kevin we said hello. Thanks for coming. We miss you. Play classical. I don't know any classical. I'm just a guitar player, man. Quit trying to put me in a box. Really? Wild. That's the Chevy Chase statement. Yep. Safe travels, April says MVTV. Good night, MVTV, Fab Daddy, Julie, and Blue Total. I will see y'all Sunday. Been a long day. Mwah. Fine, don't say goodbye to me. I love you. TCP just called Jake insane. Who's TCP? Oh. Wild. Got it. Total Blackout Painting just called me insane. Referred to earlier in the show. I got it. Sometimes my memory functions and sometimes it don't. But I got it. All right, what do you want to hear? I got maybe one or two more in me. Lots of love to you, April. Sweet dreams, honey. If you were here earlier, Total Blackout, we did a list of harmful words as constructed by Stanford University, and one of them was insane or insanity. And they suggested that instead of using the word insane, they used the word surprising or wild, which is hilarious in all of its connotations. Did I eat dinner? Not today. Not yet, anyway. I'm going to eat something in a little while. Wow, what are you having for dinner, Fab Daddy? Caucasian Sasquatch says, I'm not sleeping. Just like you to show up at the end of the show after I did something new by your request. Hey, Caucasian Sasquatch, restless this evening or feeling bad, huh? Strictly Strange. Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you? Little sister, don't you kiss me once or twice? Tell me that it's nice and then you're wrong. Oh, little sister, don't you do what your big sister done? Hey! All right. You guys got one in mind you want to hear? I weep for society. I do too. Total blackout. It's kind of saddening. Oh my goodness. I'm late, but I'm here, says Strictly Strange. Well, we love you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. I might have drifted off around 6, says Caucasian. I hear you. I was drifting in and out all day today. Apparently, what I got up to last night was pretty tiring because I was dozing all day. Teddy bear picnic. I am working on it. Eventually, I'll get to it. I don't know that one yet. I'm working on it. It's on my list. I only have a list of about 100 songs I have to put in my brain every month. So that's on the bottom of the list. But it will get there eventually, I promise. It must be a full moon, then. Full cloud cover outside, but still enough bright shining through to see everything. Nights are easier to see without other lights, unless all moonless. Well, it is a full moon tonight, which is why everybody's so uptight. But it's a full moon, and people get reactionary to full moons. And especially me. I'm a werewolf. Don't believe me? Watch me wolf out. How about that? Well, that's the best I could do without being angry. I'd have to really blow my top to get hair everywhere else, but there you go. How about a Doors song? Keep your eyes on the road, your hands upon the wheel. I gotta sing it low because my voice is gone. Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Going to the roadhouse and have myself a real good time. Back of the roadhouse, they got some bungalows. Back of the roadhouse, they got some bungalows. Yeah, well, that sort of people, you know that they get down low. You get down now. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll. All night long. gotta roll, roll, roll. You gotta feel my soul, all right. Roll, roll, roll. You gotta feel my soul. You gotta H on a B on a conk on a H on a B on a 2 on a 1 on a B on a conk on a H on. Yeah, right. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll. All night long. Save our city. Save our city. I said save our city. All right. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll. Well, I woke up this morning and I got myself a beer. I said I woke up this morning and I got myself a beer. The future's uncertain and the end is always near. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll, baby, roll. Let it roll all night long. Yeah. All right. Crawling king snake, I requested. But no. Har. Any is good. Well, I don't know crawling king snake. But I did know Roadhouse Blues, so that's what you got. Nope. Where? Can I have some? Are you cutting it? How about the door? I read that one. Honky. Good looking honky. Hey, good looking honky. Welcome to the show. Hadn't seen you here before, but I like what you're doing. Caucasian Sasquatch says, me either, but would be funny to start. Would be funny to start. What are we talking about? My son told me I need to do a black and white only painting. That could be problematic. Ever done a straight black and white, total blackout painting? Contrast and shading is tough. Hey, Stoked Pasta, welcome to the show. How do I become a ladies' man? Well, this is very simple, and I can help you out. Talk to lots and lots and lots and lots of ladies. Just by the virtue of trial and error, you will learn what to and what not to say to them. You're going to have to embarrass yourself a lot, though. Fall flat on your face. In fact, the first couple of weeks, you should try to embarrass yourself. Get it all out of the way. Break up that spirit of terrified, knees knocking, and bashfulness inside of you. Get it out. Cut it out. And then start talking to them like they're a piece of meat. I don't mean talk to them like they're a piece of meat. I mean focus on them being a piece of meat while you're talking to them. And that will lead you in the direction of being a ladies' man. But, treat them with respect. Not too much, though, because they don't like that. Very nice, Jake. You're welcome. That's what I'm going to try. 2 cans only. Black and white. Believe it or not, I'm extremely colorblind. Can't see reds and greens, purples, and certain blues. I used to only make black and white paintings a lot. It's cool to do optical illusions in black and white. Well, if you can't see colors, black and white is the way to go. Oh, man, that's wild, Strange. That's why you throwy... What? That's why your throwy was in black and white. I'm going to have to do a lot of shading, says Total Blackout. Yep. It'll have a lot of texture. I draw with pencil, says Fab Daddy. That's black and white. Strictly Strange says, no, they appear too closely colors I can see. Reds, greens, or brown, or shades of brown examples. I learned over years what colors are complementary and contrasting using a color wheel. Interesting. Put bacon grease behind one ear and maple syrup behind the other and talk to the big girls. That's one way to do it. How to meet ladies? Get a job on an inpatient hospital ward. I was surrounded by young, beautiful, intelligent women for years, each day, as if it helped me, sigh. Well, they're working girls, not literally. I mean, literally, not figuratively, working girls. And they're not usually looking for a date while on that ward. But if you go out to the right places, that's exactly what they're there to look for. And you just got to speak the lingo, that's all. I have seen people walk up to total strangers and say, screw it, I'm going to kiss you, and then lean in and kiss her, and she kissed him back. I've seen that happen more than once. So it's possible. You just got to speak the lingo, and you got to have a certain amount of handsomeness on your side in the first place. Because it don't matter how suave you are. If you're ugly, you got to be twice as cool. So don't be ugly. Have lots of money. Never admit to living with your mother. Drive a nice car. And talk to ladies. That's the most important part. If you're not out there talking to them, you have no shot. You can't get what you don't go after. Dude, that's so interesting. I was shocked to learn there wasn't a yellow. I would love to hear more about that, Strange. Fab Daddy says, RBG. I would join strictly, says Fab Daddy. MVTV says, I went on 2 overnight trips as the only male with 8 other nurses. Highlight was checking into Hilton with them all. The clerk was very wide-eyed. I slept in the same room but on the floor. I love women. Now, see, the difference between you and me is I'd be in the bed. What are they going to do? Tell me no? Then I would pull I have a bad back, I can't sleep on the floor. Which is true. It wouldn't be a cop-out. I was on a roll in college when my major was art. Interesting. I was on an honor roll in college for about a year. And then I dropped out and became a guitar player because I realized that learning how to drink and party wasn't getting me anywhere in life. And if I was going to learn to drink and party, I was going to capitalize on it. Oh, it was painful. But most were married or would kill me if I tried anything. Boy, didn't stop them from teasing, though. The good days. I hear you. Yeah, that's the worst part about a woman and being with one that's married or occupied otherwise. They like to tease. And if you're a good person, you won't do anything in return. And they know that. They can smell it on you. They know whether or not you're the kind of guy that would actually, have them. In fact, I think it's safe to say, and if there's any ladies in here, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's safe to say that within 5 seconds, a woman knows whether or not she would sleep with you. As soon as she sees you, I think she knows. 5 seconds. I think all the rest is in our head. I think they know immediately whether or not they would. I'm not saying they're going to. I'm saying they know whether they would or not. My major changed every semester. We should make it happen. But yeah, I took AP art classes in school, and color wheels and labels saved me. The positive of being extremely colorblind, I'm naturally good at value shading. Interesting. I took classes I wanted to take, says Fab Daddy. It's all about confidence and not being too corky with women. Yeah, it takes a little bit of confidence. There's a certain amount that looks can get you. Like there's a certain kind of guy that it does not matter what his personality is. His looks gets him all the way with a woman. We are not that guy. Because if we were, we wouldn't be sitting here talking to each other. We'd be out with a woman. But if you're not that guy, you got to have a personality. You got to have confidence. You got to have a little bit of height helps. It's not impossible. Short guys can pull ass, but it's harder. And the more away from that guy you are, the harder it becomes in the sexual marketplace for you. And you have to overcompensate with skills like laughter or like something, music. Be impressive in some way. Ouch, Jake. Well, it's true. They've made the decision whether they're going to sleep with you or not. Yes. Nah, not for me. You don't know instantly, Julie, whether you would sleep with a guy or not. I'm not saying you would. I'm not calling you a hoe. I'm just saying you know immediately whether or not you would go there with him or not. Are you saying that's not the case? You can work a woman with seduction. You can. It helps to know how to seduce in order to do that, though. Most guys are fumbling around in the dark. They don't know a thing about seduction. Not saying all guys, but most guys. Prancing around in underwear and sexy nighties. Truth told, I had a couple of flings that still leave me dizzy to this day. No chance if not working with them each day. I hear you. I worked very hard with a few women. The challenge was half the fun. I hear you. As sole male on the unit, a natural competition was always there and almost couldn't help themselves. Would have had zero chance anywhere else. Strictly says, I'm 5 feet tall and pull 6 foot women. Some women are into short guys. That's true. Rule 34 exists. No matter what you are, there's somebody out there that is into that. I'd know if I didn't want to within 5 seconds. Well, that's all I said. But yes, it takes more. Maybe you can't definitively say, but I'd say you got a good idea within 5 seconds. It's about seeing them instantly. It's about making an instant decision. But I can see why you would want to take your time and make that decision over time, because there are some things that grow on you that you wouldn't see instantly. I agree with you there. But just the fact that you know within 5 seconds if you would not sleep with them, that's half of what I said. So I think I'm pretty close on the mark there. But a lot of people also don't want to admit that, because that takes out of the equation getting to know somebody and spending the time and hunting women and, which they're trying to get rid of that these days anyway, but whatever. My point still remains the same. Most people, on average, know instantly whether they can make that connection or not. And then the rest is just a cat and mouse game. Some people, especially respectable ones, like to take their time. Nice, Strictly Strange. I want to say something else about that, but I will be nice and refrain. Well, say whatever you got to say, brother. Did I say something wrong? MBTV says Strictly Strange. I don't know. It is a full moon. People are testy tonight. Gotta watch it. Can I say the same about me, Jake? 5 seconds. Are you female? Okay, let's have sex. Yeah, for a guy, it's completely different. Yeah. For a guy, a pulse. If they got a pulse, I'm pretty sure we're game. I'm pretty sure it's negotiable if they don't. Also, Julie says, some people that seem good up front show their true colors later, and that's a fact. Now, I'm not taking into account common sense or anything like that. I'm just talking about the initial instinct. I'm not talking about good sense or good raising or Christian morals or anything like that. I'm just talking about the initial natural drive of humanity. You know instantly whether the pheromones are working or not. I think it's safe to say that. Oh, not at all, Total Blackout Painting. I was going to make a comment about what matches up when lying down. Oh, short people and tall people? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Julie, there's lots of people that put up a good front, and that's true. And there's a lot of people that'll straight snow you if you ain't careful because they're good at pretending to be something they're not until the mask slips and you get to see. Unfortunately, that usually takes about 4 years before you start seeing the true nature of a human being. You don't really know somebody until you've lived with them a while. Until you've been around them while they're sick. Then you really get to know somebody. Truth. I get it, MVTV. Very true. Yep, I get what Jake is saying. If you believe it, you can make it happen to some degree. Not always, but to some degree. To be honest, the few times the lady grabbed me on the first dates and pulled me into their bedroom, I was always shocked, pleasantly surprised, but too fast. Too fast? Not that I argued. I hear you, MVTV. Some people are just straight up predators. I've known women and men like that. I could never do that. I hear you. Well, in my profession, sometimes they didn't wait till I got off the stage and they were getting naked. So, you know, it happens. It's a different world out there in that environment. And you get to see a side of people you don't typically get to see in daytime life. And because of what I do for a living, I have seen some things and been involved in some things that could be questionable. Damn. I had a hot mom of a patient show up at my apartment, tossing off her shirt and coming in the door. She was dealing with grief, though, so yes, I gently declined. I hear you. I would have helped her with her grief, but that's just me. I get Facebook messages about a nerdy boy I played video games with. About a nerd boy I played video games with. He said I helped him find his girlfriend. He seems happy and 2 years older. 19. Wow. Well, I'm glad you were able to help him find his girlfriend. Strictly says, I'm not good looking. I've always had to work for the women I wanted. Never had a woman be straightforward with me. Yeah, that kind of sucks, buddy, but I understand where you're coming from. Blackout, absolutely true, says Julie. Yep. Those are what Patrice O'Neill used to call mercenaries. Yep. I have definitely peered into the eyes of the predator before. And by the way, Strictly Strange, there is nothing wrong with working for a woman. If the woman is intelligent, she realizes that the effort you're putting forward marks what kind of man you are. And if she's intelligent, that's what she's after, is a man that will put forth the effort required. However, getting laid and marrying the woman of your dreams are not the same sport. So, just to be clear, the advice that I gave had nothing to do with meeting a woman of quality. Whoever it was that asked, how do I become a ladies' man, wanted to know how to get laid. There's a difference in the way you approach those two sports because they're not the same. Same sport. They're not even in the same ballpark. Oh, the story of the super hot traveling nurse with the heart tattoo on her boob drove all the men nuts. All the nurses hated her, walking and taking sex. That's because they couldn't get any. I ran into her in my drinking days. A pharmacist friend was with me, and before we knew it, we were at her house. And I was trying to get us both at once. And she was trying to get us both at once. Thankfully, I started laughing and passed out. And on the next page of Hustler After Dark, we talk to MBTV, who has some interesting stories about his love life. Advice about women is something I cannot share while Julie is listening. It's a male secret. That's true, and I didn't give away the male secrets. I just gave away one of them. Truth, Jake. And the reason I gave away that one is because I speak the truth. But I did refrain. There are a few things I'm not going to mention online, period. I'll tell you in person, though. Save it for the monthly meeting, Fab Daddy. And don't forget the handshake. Sorry, hot button. To be clear, my respect is primary. I was the right-hand man of the charge nurses, and we ran our units right. I hear you. Julie wants to know. She says, do tell Fab Daddy. Does he got stupid written on his forehead? No, he does not. All right, boys and girls, we are 30 minutes past the hour. I'm going to save the bell for now, because now is when it needs to be rang. Montana says, the bad, I passed out. She was very appealing. The good, the whole lot of images that do not haunt me to this day. Myself, no prob. Another dude at the time, no way. Don't tell Fab Daddy. He won't. There are some things that if you've lived in the life, you know some tricks that don't get spoken out loud. That's just the way it is. Because those tricks are very hard to come by. And if you happen to know one of them, you keep it to your damn self, because you don't want everybody doing the same thing you know how to do. Because it's a competitive world out there at the base, just going in, it's competitive. There's guys out there that will hit on and try to sleep with your wife while she's sitting beside you. I've seen it happen. It's happened to me. So trust me when I tell you, you don't want to give away any trade secrets. Oh, yeah, I guess you have a life, Jake. Good stream tonight. So much for running for political office in the future with this string out there. Ha ha ha. And we'll keep pretending we don't know those secrets. Well, if you want to get laid, you will, because, it's got to work one way or another. There's got to be a meeting at some point. So, yeah, you keep pretending you don't know our little tricks, and we'll keep pretending to be holding secrets that the world needs. But I am a man of letters. I have attended the secret arts. I do know a thing or two that the average bear don't know. And one thing I know for certain is, and I'll give you this one, At the bottom of it all, you go down the list, whatever it is you do, whatever things you employ, however you play the game. At the bottom of it all, we are animals, and we are pheromone-driven beings. And at the bottom of it all, where there's an itch, you'll find a scratcher. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you so much for being so interesting and having such a great conversation on a full moon, no less. I hope you enjoyed the show tonight. I know it was different. I was trying something new. We may do it again. We may not. Who knows? Whatever works, works, and whatever don't. It'll go by the wayside, and we'll do something better next time. Have a great night. Take care of yourselves and each other. God bless you all. I'll see you on Sunday at 8 p.m. sharp Eastern Standard Time, where we'll begin the long trek through the Bible as we do. And until then, won't you go out into the world and be nice to somebody? It don't take much. It's not hard. It's free. All you got to do is just be willing to be nice to somebody, and it'll change your life. It'll bring things into focus that you didn't even know were there. It will avail you of situations that you didn't know you could get out of, and it will open doors that you didn't know you could open. And also drink lots of water. Have a great night. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching.